Berlin E-Prix. First race is in the books, and it was a very exciting race. Josh and Edward with me to discuss the Formula E race, and of course, the first world champion in Formula E will be crowned. We came in with 18 drivers eligible for the championship, only 14 left, and out of those remaining at the Tempelhof Airport, side last year's 6 rounds Formula E Fest. I want to give a big shout out to Jack at Formula E Zone. I know he's over there at Berlin covering the race. Edward, you've been helping him out with all the videos. We encourage everyone to subscribe to Formula E Zone. And this is the most unpredictable championship out of the 7 Series in the grid ranking. Lucas Di Grassi taking the win over Eduardo Montara and Mitch Evans. Nick DeVries still the points lead, but only 3 points ahead of Montara. Starting with you, Josh. Lucas Di Grassi and Audi, are they serious contenders for this championship coming into tomorrow's race? And because especially both drivers still have a shot at the championship, it appears.
Second win of the year for Lucas Di Grassi. Technically, you could say it's his second in a row because he crossed the line first in London, then got black flags. So Audi definitely have the pace to lead the racing. Me and Ed were in the commentary screaming, I think, at the last line because it was side by side. So a great end. It proves that this championship is going to be down to the wire, absolutely dramatic. Definitely, I think, as you say, we've got 13 or 14 cars in contention tomorrow going in for the championship. DeVries leads on 95 points. He was pointless today. Di Grassi's moved right back up there. He's now on 87 points. He's got Rene Rast in 12th. He's on 75. So all it takes is a strong qualifying performance. And as me and Ed were discussing today, timing your attack mode. You only get one now lasting for 8 minutes. And that's where I think, personally, Techeetah failed today. They got compromised by the safety car. They went for their attack mode after the safety car. They were low on battery power. They went for it too late as well. So that kind of compromised them in their strategy because they had to fight the way through out of field, whereas if they had it at the front, it would have really been overtaking the two Venturas. So, yeah, I think Audi need another good, strong day tomorrow. I definitely don't think they're not going to win. I don't think Di Grassi is going to win the race. Personally, I can see BMW. But I think Di Grassi, if he wants a strong go for the title, good qualifying, and a very, very strong opportunistic attack mode would be crucial.
Yeah, absolutely, Josh. That is going to be the key thing, isn't it? Where you qualify and when you use attack mode. And the interesting thing was, with Audi, since we're talking about them, is that they played the team game, didn't they? Rene Rast went for attack mode really early in the race and was able to basically get up the order. In fact, led it, go in front of Di Grassi for a brief time, but they were able to basically get in and amongst the Techeetahs, and it really felt like you say, Josh, the DS Techeetah team couldn't use the attack mode under the safety car, which would have been the ideal time for them to use it. Leading the race, they just about built like a big enough gap, and then it all got taken away from them. And then when they eventually did have to use attack mode, they found themselves mired in the midfield pack, and Jake Dennis rudely brushing Antonio Felix da Costa aside, but just about getting through into fifth place in the end. So yeah, it was very good teamwork by Audi, but they certainly had the better pace throughout the race. And Lucas Di Grassi really, once he got ahead of Mortara, it was a case of just holding off Ido at the very end there. Very crazy finish, but it sets up the championship very nicely.
That set up for the championship very nicely. I know it's been one of those races where this season has been something else. As I mentioned, 14 eligible, but realistically, the top 12 have a shot at that championship. Top 12 separated by 20 points, of course, 30 points to max. If you go out there, pole, fastest lap in qualifying, lead the most, everything, 30 points. But Nick DeVries today, outside the points, had to go in pit lane after a punctured tire. Do you feel Nick DeVries is still the favorite entering this race tomorrow?
DeVries, he's sort of looked into the lead of the championship, in my opinion. He started off very strong, winning Diriyah, winning Valencia 1. 2 podiums, of course, in London with 2 seconds. But he had a shocker in New York City and a shocker in the second race of Valencia, and retired twice in Rome and DNFs as well, Puebla. Nick de Vries's season looks very much like a roller coaster when you compare it, up, down, everywhere. So he's a very quick driver. He's a very good driver. He is a Formula 2 champion, but I don't think it's mistakes like this today as well. The puncture he's had previous errors as well. He needs a strong qualifying in order to try and get the championship advantage. So, no, I don't think I don't think de Vries is going to be up there. I think he'll be dealt with very quickly by the likes of Mortara, Dennis Evans, a lot more faster drivers who have had more time in Formula E than poor de Vries has. Ed, what about you?
I think we've got about 7 favourites because the top 7 are separated by about 9 points, I think, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure that's right. Yeah, it's very close. I don't know, the person I've been most impressed by of all the drivers is actually young Jake Dennis, the 26-year-old from Nuneaton in Warwickshire, for BMW Andretti in what is going to be BMW's last race with the team and in the sport, presumably in Formula E. He was able to get up to 5th, just behind Mitch Evans, who I thought was also very impressive today. And in fact, Evans, I'd probably say, put on some brilliant moves in the other Jaguar. Although what happened to his teammate, unfortunately, left him well down the standings, and Sam Bird certainly didn't have the race he would have hoped to today. And in fact, I was just listening to an interview about what happened to Sam Bird, and basically he didn't want to speculate, but basically he had hit from behind and everything just shut down. So there was definitely some kind of technical failure, perhaps brought on by some damage, but he was in a big battle with Maximilian Günther for just outside the points. And it looked like the Jaguar did have great pace, so a missed opportunity for Sam Bird, unfortunately, but Mitch Evans taking full advantage.
Mitch Evans taking full advantage. Sam Bird, the teammate, 14 points behind. And one of the big things, he is going to be in Group 2 of qualifying. All year long, that's been the talk. Group 1, you're just not going to have that great of a lap. We're doing the same track, but the reverse direction. When it comes to this track, starting with you, Ed, Sam Bird and the other drivers in Group 2, will they have the upper hand with qualifying and then that race tomorrow?
I'm not so sure, because we saw today that they didn't. What happened last year during the 6-race Berlin Festival that we talked about, that they last year they cleaned the track in between free practice and qualifying, and that led to basically the track rubbering in as the groups went in. So you didn't really want to be in the first group because you had a big disadvantage. And what they did this time, they didn't do that. So the track was still had the rubber on it from free practice 2. And so we saw a mix of different drivers from different groups making it into Superpole. We saw both Venturis, both Techeetahs, and in the end, both Techeetahs did drop down in the race, as I said, for the attack mode reason. But as for the reverse layout, again, it's a different kettle of fish entirely. And I think they're still doing. I think because they was having to reset the track workers have got 15 hours basically between the end of race 1, the beginning of free practice for race 2, to sort of hurriedly put everything in the right position so they can make the reverse layout work. So how much rubber is going to be effective, it really depends if they clean it in between free practice 2 and quali. But I do think Sam Bird will have a better time because he's at least got data from today's race that he can use, if not from himself, then at least from his teammate, to improve his performance and make sure he makes the right decisions on track in the finale. And you never know. I think, like I say, Sam Bird, he is 14 points down, but still got a pretty decent chance, one of his better chances in his Formula E career. So I do think he could still qualify well in Group 2, but I think it's the Group 3 runners, statistically, which tend to be the best. So we've got to watch out for those too.
I mean, for the Group 2 runners, this morning we had Vernon Mortara go through out of the 6, but then everybody else in that session dropped down. Evans died 7th, Verline 9th, Rast and Cassidy were 13th and 14th. So Group 2 very much is more of a lottery of where to go in terms of qualifying. But as Ed said, the grip would remain the same. But also, as I just worked out, that means that the little rubber bits, I can't remember the actual name of the
marbles.
Marbles, thank you, Ed. Yeah, the marbles are going to be on the exit of the corner now, which is going to be on the racing line. So they're going to have to deal with those quite quickly. And I think that's why they've given them 2 more practice sessions tomorrow morning. They've got another free practice 1, free practice 2, in order to get the track exactly as they want it. So it's not going to be like a usual double header where it's free practice 3 and then we're straight into qualifying. There's practice 1, that's 45 minutes. Then 25 minutes after that, we're in for free practice 2. An hour later, we're in for qualifying, and then the race at the usual time. So I like the idea that we've got in reverse. It gives us something different. It gives us something to hype up about for the championship. It's going to give me a headache in terms of knowing the track layout, which we've just mastered for this weekend, and I'm going to change it tomorrow. And I think it's also going to play up with the drivers because, yes, some of them have raced on it before. We had the reverse races in that Berlin festival last year. But I think the drivers who will suit best are the ones who can adapt. Sam Bird is one of those drivers who can adapt quite quickly. Jake Dennis is another. We've seen De Vries struggle with change. So I don't think he's going to be in that position. I think he's going to run down in Group 2 tomorrow. I'm not sure. No, he runs Group 1, doesn't he? Yeah, Championship leader, Group 1. So DaCosta, Bird, Vern, Lynn, Cassidy, Rast running in Group 2 tomorrow. They are going to be ones to watch. And whoever manages to get into Super Pole, they're going to be the best shot for the title because there'll be an outside lucky dip, like literally just rip off a ticket at the meat counter, wait for your number, and then you can go out for your lap. But as
I think that reference might be slightly lost on our American viewers.
Sadly, yeah. Ed, I think we mentioned actually in the commentary as well that there's a lot of risk for contact tomorrow in not only the race but in qualifying as well, because we saw last year in the reverse quali, not many drivers made it to the line. They mistimed it because they thought the lap times would be the same. They mistimed it by about 10 seconds, didn't they, if you can remember?
Yeah, there was a big Group 1 kerfuffle with all the Group 1 runners, and they ended up holding each other up and trying to fight each other on that outlap, and some of them missed the cut. And I think only one of them may have made it, actually, if our memory serves. So that was also not helped by the fact, like I mentioned, with different group conditions, and if the track isn't swept from free practice, then maybe that might avoid that scenario, because it certainly avoided it in today's qualifying. But yeah, like you said, there is just going to be an element of getting the lap in and then managing the race and using attack mode at the right point. And with so many drivers in contention, you can't just afford to let a few points go here and there. Everyone is fighting for every little point they can get, and that's the way it should be, really. You shouldn't have... there was a lot of talk going in about people playing the system of making sure I drop down to Group 2 or 3 so that I can get in the best group position for the final race and get the points I need. But there's not really been any of that. Everyone's been just, well, we'll see where I finish in the race and then I'll get the best result in the next, no matter where I qualify. That's been the attitude from most of the drivers, and I think that's good to see, because we did see murmurings and rumours. Oliver Rowland tried it earlier in the season. It backfired horribly because he got into Group 2 and it rained.
Yeah.
and it was exactly the wrong group to be in, but as it happened. But yeah. So yeah, I think lots to look forward to tomorrow for you and me, Josh. Like you say, the minor headache of the reverse layout, but I'm sure we'll pick it up quick. We always do.
The tensions tomorrow are going to be so high. Mistakes are going to be palpable. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. In fact, I'm going to go on record, live on YouTube, Twitch, everything else, radio. Tomorrow could be the greatest championship decider in history.
I think one of the big things I'm anticipating safety cars in this race. I mean, I think it's going to be all out. Formula E has been known to be so physical at times. I mean, sometimes just as physical as NASCAR Cup Series. And we definitely encourage everyone watching, be sure to share who you think is going to win the Formula E race tomorrow. Comment, definitely see you could get on the leaderboard.
Don't be an anonymous investor. Join the stock market social media platform public.com. Invest any amount of money and share with friends and new friends. Discover new opportunities, such as new companies and potential business partners, and useful tools for beginners, and share your experience with friends on public.com. Link in the video description gets you $5 for being a Grid Network viewer. Use the referral code GRIDnet for your free $5 to invest. Start investing and networking on public.com.